Where does John Moodey's resignation leave the Democratic Alliance this afternoon? In an earlier interview, you heard him making scathing remarks about the former leader Helen Zille, also saying that the DA was no longer a political home to him. I want to bring into the bulletin now political commentator Sanusha Naidu. Good afternoon to you. How big a blow then is it for the party, Sanusha? He was well known and reportedly had good organizational skills.
Good afternoon, Jeremy. Absolutely. I think this is, again, you can't have your big high-profile personalities, leaders resigning from the party, particularly when you're appealing to different constituency bases across the electoral landscape. And of course, listening to him, he was very emotional. He was very upset. He seemed to be at odds with where the party is and his role in the party. And I think this is not something that the party should take lightly. I think they should definitely start looking and reevaluating why particular leaders like John Moodey are coming out and making statements about whether or not there's a level of integration, there's a level of accommodation, and there's a level of interpersonal comradeship that people of different racial groups, but also representing different constituency bases within this broad church of the DA can actually find their foot and feel comfortable. And I find it curious because, again, the question is, how much of what's happening in the party is being camouflaged around the fact that a lot of this attention about factionalism in the DA is being overshadowed by the factionalism and the power politics and the dynamics that are unfolding in the ruling party, and the kind of shift this is happening in the context of where the party is regrouping in light of its Congress later this year.
This is a quote attributed to him earlier today. During a meeting, Helen Zille told them to get used to, and I quote, being a 20% party for good. He goes on to say the lack of attempts to regain the votes of black, Indian and coloured voters gets to me. Fundamentally, is this a race issue?
It comes across as a race issue. And I think you can't hide the dynamics and the skirting of race within this debate. I mean, this is something that you have to understand. The party has become a broad context for a lot of people who have become disaffected in other political parties, particularly those that came across from the Nationalist Party or the New Nationalist Party, those that have basically felt that the DA represented them. Of course, at last year's election, we saw what the Freedom Front Plus has done, where disgruntled Afrikaner voters moved out from the party, not feeling that it represents themselves. And I think this is a kind of recalibration of the party to try and say, well, this is where we're going to go. We're going to become a very particular party in the ideological spectrum. Unfortunately, you're sacrificing a lot of the personalities, the leaders, the face of individuals who have traction on the ground. And I think if you start after Patricia de Lille, Herman Mashaba, of course, Muslim Amani, who can forget him, and now you've got John Moodey, who else in the party? And I think the challenge for this party is really around how they take the lessons from 2019 into 2021 if we have an election of local government next year.
That list of disaffected is seemingly getting longer and longer. Sanusha Naidu, thank you very much indeed. Just on half past the hour. This is Wednesday lunchtime, ETV, ENCA. Let's recap the top stories.